really different. In college, it is your job because they are paying you, right? They paid for part of my college education, so I didn't have time to go work at the grocery store, to go work, at a restaurant. I didn't have time to have a real job, but that was my job. They were paying for a huge chunk of my education. So there comes different requirements when they're paying you, basically, right? It took a lot more time. I would say I practiced on average 5 hours a day in college, whereas in high school, when I was younger, we practiced 2 hours in a typical practice, and even then you may not do that 5 days a week. When I got to my junior year in high school, I did, finally, because I was ready to commit, and I was old enough to make that decision for myself. But in college, it was like a 7-day a week. You were lucky to get a day off to rest your body and do some schoolwork. Otherwise, you were out there practicing and playing and traveling, and so the commitment was much, much different. And their coaches could be harder on you because, again, they had expectations because you were good enough to come here, and I'm paying you, so you better continue to be good. So there wasn't as much room for error, I guess. And when you would get in a slump, it was like, you better figure it out because we don't have time for you to do that. We got to win. We got to win. We don't have time to lose or be in slumps and have somebody else help us out. So that pressure and that commitment was a lot higher. I remember crying because like I said, I was like an average student in high school. I'd never failed a test, and I'd never had to work super hard to not fail one. And then all of a sudden it was like, and math was my thing. That was my major. I was majoring in math and I failed a math test. Like, that can't happen, right? How do I major in something and then fail it? And so I remember going home and being like, okay, and calling my parents and being like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then having to just ask different people, what did you do to study? Trying to meet people in my math classes because I was new to that school. I had transferred, and so I was trying to meet people and say, hey, do you want to be my study buddy? And what does that even mean? And can you help me? Because you seem to do okay on the test. So a lot of just asking for help and not knowing anybody. That was, hard at first. It took a little time. And then trial and error. I would try to study one way, and then that didn't work. Okay, I'd find a different strategy for studying. And eventually I found the process that worked for me with studying. Like, I would use flashcards a lot. I would look over my notes a lot. I would redo my homework over and over and over again. And I just found what worked for me. And then from there, I ended up being very successful. But it was a semester of trial and error. I start in the beginning until I get to know them better. I start by just trying to talk to the girl and go, I know Dad's a little intense, but it's okay. You're doing a really good job. Keep working hard. And I try to kind of be their cheerleader and kind of counterbalance their parents sometimes. And then after I get to know them and I feel more comfortable, then I can usually, if I get to know the parent, I can figure out the best way to approach them, and then I can approach them and kind of go, listen, she's doing a good job. You don't need to do that. Or let me do it. I'm the coach. Let me be the heavy. Let me be hard on her. You just be the parent and be supportive. Because when I was in high school, my dad and I got to a spot where, even though he was a great coach, we got to a spot where we stopped talking because we would go to practice and we would fight. And my mom finally said, you're done. Like, you're done coaching each other, you're done playing until you can figure this out. And I had a coach that kind of saved my relationship with my dad because he said, my dad was the assistant, and the head coach came on that year and said, you don't get to talk to her anymore as a player. You only get to talk to her as your daughter. So just be the parent. Just be the parent, be supportive and have fun and watch your child play. And then coach all the other girls and I'll coach her. And so I try to kind of give that message to some of the parents of, let me be the coach. You just get to be the parent. You get to be the cheerleader. You get to be supportive. You get to have fun with your kid. Let me be the one to kind of push them and instruct them and be harder on them. Because it's different coming from somebody other than your parent.
Hi, my name is Andres Orozco.
Hi, my name is Amy Flores.
Hi, my name is Elias Velasquez.
Hi, my name is Arturo Mendez.
Hi, my name is Eduardo Jacuinda.
Hi, my name is Oscar Moro.